Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers and subscribers at the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because it saves lives. Yes, we are all about saving lives here at the Jamaica Young Police channel, and the reason why we support preemptive strike because it is a policy that saves lives, because we're all about saving lives over here at the Jamaica Young Police channel. Yes, you know, life is precious. You only get one life, so that's the reason why we're all about saving lives here at the Jamaica Young Police channel. So that is one of our philosophy and motto over here, you understand. But before we begin this video today, we want the criminal supporters, enablers, sympathizers, financiers and beneficiaries to know that we do not want them over here. Please go elsewhere, man. We do not want your views, comments or support, because we hate criminals with a passion, and we do not negotiate with terrorists or want them in our midst. Please go elsewhere. You are not welcome. So you must understand, if somebody is telling you that they do not want you in their midst, why are you coming? The honest person will know do such thing, It's people like Beanie Man, shame Beanie Man, and him still a come around here and him think that we don't want you guys over here. Period. We don't care about you, from your criminal supporter, anything to do with criminals. Don't come over here. We don't want you here, because we don't negotiate with criminals. We're a group of law-abiding citizens, and we do believe that criminals must live in fear of losing their lives and not the law-abiding citizens. That's our motto over here. So don't come over here and we don't want to hear what about and this and that. We don't into that madness. Alright, so today, this is part 3 of the rise and fall of Christopher Dudus, the leader of the Shower Posse. And at the end of this series, you're going to hear, as we have stated before, you're going to hear step by step of his movements from Tivoli Gardens until he was arrested with Reverend Almila. And we appreciate the information from the former special branch police officer. Yes, and we applaud the man for believing us and know you understand based on certain things that you have said, and we applaud it, you understand. We're not going to expose it because everything is have to do with confidentiality. And and we applaud it, and we thanks for all of the things that you have shared with us about some police officers, you understand, and we're happy that in daytime and you're fine, and we pray that God continue to bless and keep you and your family. So this is part 3 of Christopher Dudus, the leader of the Shower Posse, evading the police, the security forces in Jamaica. And this man, they had put up a resistance, literally try to overthrow the government. So we'll continue the journey. You watch, you listen, you decide, because all we are here doing at the Jamaica Young Police channel is to educate the audience. That's all, nothing else. You understand? We are no political agenda. We are not beholden to anyone in Jamaica, none of the political parties. But as we have stated before, we know that one is trying to change its ways a little, and the other one not changing at all, because up to now we haven't heard Mark Golan or anyone from the PNP LGBTQ plus party comes out and publicly denounce the people for what they have done to Dr. Dawes, threaten his life. And Dr. Dawes thought that these people would come out and defend him. So you watch, you listen, you decide. The Jamaican government left Tivoli Gardens alone. Coke commuted from a lavish uptown villa to his offices in Java. He directed Shower Posse affiliates in the US, and his legitimate Jamaican business won road paving and government security contracts. Like everyone in Tivoli Gardens, Mickey Freeman had to be present, at least the appearance of loyalty to Coke, negotiating allegiances to both the Don and the law. Freeman construction job at the new US Embassy resulted from a referral from an earlier construction job at a fertilizer plant, which came through incomparable Enterprise, a company controlled by Coke. You hired the area, Darrell Wilson, a manager at Tankwell, a contractor that employed Freeman, said, "You don't have much choice who you get. They are waiting at the gate when you get there." On his final trip back from the US, Freeman carried 2 BlackBerry phones and a bottle of cologne gift for the Don. Coke was like Moriarty from the Sherlock Holmes book, Richard Smith. The deputy chief of the US Embassy in the late 1990s says he was at the center of the web but was never caught doing anything himself. In 2004, the DEA entered into a secret agreement with the Jamaican Ministry of National Security that allowed it to listen in on Coke's intercept phone calls. This eventually led to the extradition request. So, what happened right here, the contention between the JLP LGBTQ plus Prime Minister Bruce Golding and the American government is that the MOU was illegal and it was not in conformity with the extradition treaty between America and Jamaica. But it was done anyway, wrong is right and right is double right. So that's why he was reluctant in extraditing Christopher Dudus Coke. But instead, eventually he still had to extradite him. So all they had to do was to comply and complain. And someone who's of knowledge of the law, if Peter Phillips had signed something that is illegal, that means he commits a crime. Why they didn't shift their focus? Send Christopher Dudus to America because them having wiretap committing crimes in a dear country. Send him to America instead of telling him to tell them try fight and use all kind of people. That's why Darrell Vaz losing visa and when name the ballad brother from St. Thomas, James Robertson, and a whole host of people who are connected to that web with Christopher Dudus Coke. All they have to do is send the man to America, and Tivoli would still have there to operate autonomously without no interference from the state. They would have a police station there in Tivoli Gardens. But I don't know who was advising this man, but the advice that he had received was wrong. Because America, look, I try to tell people, you don't want nothing more than Gaddafi. You don't want nothing more than the Taliban. And then the American them say, hey, time's up. You have to just comply or else they might come for you. And it's as simple as that. And look what happened to even Gaddafi. Gaddafi was, was a thorn in the American side. And, he decided, alright, I'll make peace and, come into the fold with them and them thing. And what they did, them kill him. So I just say, you have to understand how macro and microeconomics work in the world. Everything is all about money and power. So by then, Bruce Golding had become Prime Minister. He was a protege of Siaga and a member of the JLP, the party long associated with Coke. To delay Coke's extradition, Golding authorized the retention of a US law firm for $100,000 per quarter to lobby officials in Washington in a cable. The US Embassy in Kingston report that the Jamaican government understandably feared bloodshed and civil unrest, but it did not recommend changing course. Coke financed the party through overt and covert contribution, a former State Department official told us. A current State Department official said that Golding administration was obsessed with the extradition. The embassy likely perceived the campaign against the extradition as confirmation of Coke's dangerously high standing with the Jamaican government. By May 2010, Golding recalcitrance had set off a diplomatic crisis, with the State Department revoking the visa of influential Jamaicans. After the raid, ABC's News reported that the U.S. authorities had intercepted communication between Coke and Golding, and that a U.S. government document called Golding, a criminal affiliate of Coke. So when I've been telling people, that Bruce Golding was not a law-abiding prime minister, you know, as the others, you know. Because the Americans, them, you know, them intercept them of Bruce Golding on record talking to Dudus when he was a fugitive evading justice. And that's why he had to resign in shame. But he's supposed to understand, you know, technology. Remember, I said everything that Jamaica use, it is imported. Jamaica don't make anything. So the phone that you're using, everything that is imported. So you don't even know the genesis behind the apparels that you're using, because it's technology. So they intercept him car and realize that, you know, him affiliated with Coke, with Dudus. So the pressure on the Prime Minister became too great, and on Monday, May 17, Golding instructed his Minister of Justice to sign the extradition order. So what happened, you know, let me tell you this. What the American government did then, yeah, them talk to Bruce Golding and say, hey, look here, no big man, we have you talk to the man, you know, and we have a warrant up here for his arrest. And we request that your government extradite him, but you behave like, you know, I send him, and then I see him, but you converse with him, and you tell him what you're about, what you're doing, and all kind of stuff. And what you're doing right now, we want to let you know, based on the treaty that we had with Jamaica, that you're obstructing justice. And we have two options. You know, we just read the riot act here. It's either you resign and extradite Dudus, or you just stay there and we just come and arrest you and charge you. But you can't be Prime Minister again, because we have the goods on you. He knew that he was on the phone with Dudus. That's why he eventually resigned. First in the history of Jamaica, a Prime Minister had to resign in disgrace. When PJ Patterson resigned, we don't know what was behind his resignation, so we have to check out that. But Bruce Golding's resignation was done in disgrace. He resigned because he was a disgrace to Jamaica, because of what he had done for Christopher Dudus. So moving on. So Bruce Golding had ordered the Justice Minister to sign the extradition order. That afternoon, shops in downtown Kingston rolled down their gates and sent employees home early. Coke's men began putting up the barriers in Tivoli Gardens and Denham Town. And Wednesday, an armored army vehicle attempting to push through one of the new roadblocks was met with gunfire. Wow, so them boy are bright, you know. On Thursday, thousands of Tivoli women marched in downtown Kingston on Coke's behalf. They wore white and carried signs written in marker and scraps of cardboard. Taking the boss is like taking Jesus. After God, Dudus come next. Jesus died for us, we will die for Dudus. So they had made it clear, you know. But we know that they were coerced in doing such thing, because they never do it freely. If they never do it, hey, you know what, going there, get to there, you know, say, heads going to roll and people are going to lose their lives. So by the weekend, Tivoli had filled with armed men. But even as Coke prepared for war, he was negotiating his surrender with the police through a prominent member of the Jamaican clergy, Bishop Errol Blair. Like his father, Blair said Coke was terrified of dying in a Jamaican prison cell. But the bishop's hope for a truce faltered Sunday morning when Coke's forces attacked police patrol and 4 police stations, setting fire to at least one. The police commissioner cut off negotiations, and at 6 o'clock Golding declared a state of emergency in Kingston, giving the security forces expanded power to search, arrest and detention. In a briefing that night with Jamaica's top security officials, the police commissioner, according to someone who spoke to him soon after, warned that as many as 200 people might die. The assault on Tivoli Gardens, Operation Garden Parish, began at 11 a.m. on May 24th. Media were prohibited from entering the area. The rest of Kingston watched as soldiers and police poured in trucks carrying dead bodies, drove out. The objective was to establish law and order in a place where there was none, Carl Angle, a police spokesman, says. Gunmen fired on the security forces the moment they went in. An army video showed a sniper aiming from behind sandbags. Another showed a teenage boy in a school uniform walking around with an assault rifle. Invasion of Tivoli Gardens by Babylon, the enemy. A diary written by a gunman reads, it was recovered months later after the gunman was shot to death by police. Gunshot rang out from every corner of West Kingston. I fired my AK until my finger was numb. It was in the diary of one of the Stone Crushers' gunmen. The man said to have topped the country's most wanted list has been killed. Dead is Cedric Murray, also known as Doggy of Norwood in St. James, who reportedly headed the Fear Stone Crusher gang and was on the police most wanted list for several years. Yes, and you see this man, Doggy, even in his diary, there are some things that in the diary that exposes even a former commissioner of police of mixing up with criminals. Yes, Owen Ellington, because in the diary, I haven't seen the diary and based on information received, from people who are in the, security branch. We have people who used to work at special branch, relay information to us here at the Jamaica Young Police Channel. Even before then, that Cedric wrote that he had went to the former commissioner of police Owen Ellington's mother, 9-night in Glenlaw, St. Catherine, along with Lieber Rancher, that's the man that who received a life sentence. He was one of the men who were involved in hoisting Seaga from the GLP leadership. And Cedric Murray Daggy was one of his shatter, you understand? So, moving on. So, Cedric Murray, the leader of the Stone Crusher gang, he was killed by the St. James police in Clarendon Thursday during a pre-dawn operation. For over 5 years, Murray managed to elude several dragnets set up by the St. James police. So you see, Jamaica is a criminal's paradise. So here's a man who have been killing people, Jamaicans, and for 5 years you have people in Jamaica protected this man who has been killing unarmed Jamaicans. And it was after 5 years because he had threatened somebody who was close to him and who was giving him shelter. That's how the police were able to dust him out in Clarendon. So most people think that that criminals have any loyalty. Criminals is all about control of people's mind, thoughts and actions. And these people don't understand there's no honest criminal, because eventually they will turn on you. And that's what happened with Cedric Murray. And then when he turned on the people who were protecting him, they turned on him and made the cops, they come and deal with him. Following the exchange of gunfire, Murray was dead. They say about 7:30 Thursday morning, the police who were on special operation along Clarendon-Manchester border were confronted by criminals traveling a car. Following an exchange of gunfire, Murray was found in the car reportedly clutching a 9mm pistol. The vehicle driver, believed to have also been shot, managed to elude the lawmen. According to the commanding officer from St. James, Superintendent Merrick Watson, a diary containing volumes of information regarding the recent incursion of the security forces into Tivoli Gardens in West Kingston was taken from him. The superintendent read excerpts from it, some of which profess his loyalty to Christopher Dudus Coke's family and his involvement in the shooting during that event. The diary reads, it details events before, during and after the incursion into Tivoli Gardens and speaks about the invasion of Tivoli Gardens by Babylon, the enemy. A gunshot rang out for hours from every corner of Kingston. Murray, killed on his birthday, was fingering many killings in St. James, including the recent triple killing of 2 men and a woman and a woman on Felicity Street in the capital. The Bureau of Special Investigation had started a probe into the matter. But the resistance melted away. Most of Coke's followers fled through the valley maze-like drainage system, realizing they stood no chance against the Army's machine guns, helicopters, and armored personnel carrier. Police later found a large cache of firearms and ammunition at a house beside a gully connecting Tivoli to Denham Town. By the time the security force began searching door to door, most, if not all, the actual combatants had left. Coke, the man who had spent almost 2 decades claiming to be Tivoli's protectors, was nowhere to be found. So he's the one that started all of this problem. But yet still, you know, nearly 100 people died for him and he is able to live. And you saw he makes sure that he ran away, and you saw people stupid, they're willing to die for a man who's not willing to die for himself. So that's how people love this man so much that they give up their life for him. You know, stupidity. I lived in and around Tivoli for about 3 months reporting this story. Residents, government officials, and sources close to the police told me the killings occur in 2 waves. The first happened in the morning while the security forces were rounding up residents and gaining neighborhood control. The second began in the afternoon when police started conducting house-to-house searches for weapons and gunmen. Some used tissue swabs to test residents and for traces of gunpowders. Often the question of who was a gunman and who wasn't was decided on the spot. If an unarmed man claimed of innocence seemed unconvincing, the police might kill him. "What are you doing in Tivoli Gardens?" a policeman asked George Dudus, a portly middle-aged man who installed wood floors in Brooklyn. He was visiting Jamaica and came and come by a friend's apartment on May 24th. Lewis remembered he and the policeman were sitting in the living room. The policeman had his rifle pointed at Lewis' chest. "It's guys like you are bringing in loads of guns," the policeman said. "I've always been a law-abiding citizen," Lewis said, trembling moments before he heard gunfire from the apartment next door. A second police officer leaned in, looking shaking, and asked, "What to do with the bodies?" "Tie a sheet around them and carry them downstairs," Lewis' interrogator said. "I am the decision maker now, you hear?" He continued. Lewis told the policeman that he had a nephew in the army. The policeman asked him for his name and number. Lewis wrote them on a slip of paper. He placed it beside the American green card and Jamaican passport on the coffee table. "Call him," the policeman said. Lewis could not get through. He began to pray. The police looked at the slip of paper. "You are right," he said. Lewis believed that he recognized the nephew's name. The police handcuffed Lewis, took him to Tivoli's community center, where he spent the night lying on his stomach on the concrete floor. The next day, he was taken to an old industrial plant. The floor was covered with rainwater, so he stood awake all night, shoulder to shoulder with scores of other men. On Wednesday, the prisoners were driven to the National Arena by members of the Jamaican Defense Force, which is about 3 miles away from Tivoli Gardens at the arena. The security force were holding more than 500 other men and boys for investigation to see if they were wanted for any crimes and their correct names and addresses. But look, all this man had to do, you know, when he went down to Tivoli on May 24th, didn't he know that there was some problem before? Why did he went there and put his life in danger? For what? For a niggle eye? That's crazy, man. The toilets were clogged and the detainees had to urinate in empty water bottles. Lewis was released on Thursday evening. I heard so many horror stories, he told me. They summarily executed people. Do you know why? Because people outside hold this area in low esteem. As Lewis was interrogated in Tivoli Gardens on Monday, Joan McCarthy, an older woman living in the apartment next to his friend, was held outside the building. Minutes before police had ordered Andre Smith, her 25-year-old grandnephew and a U.S. citizen, and Dwayne Edwards, her daughter's boyfriend upstairs. After soldier had taken everyone out, she heard gunshot inside the building and saw police carrying 2 bodies wrapped in sheets down the stairs. She recognized Edward's shoes protruding from one sheet. McCarthy was confident that neither was involved in the fighting. They had spent all morning together hiding in her dining room. But look, these people, they are stupid, you know. If the government already give order that all the people them leave. So you know, say all the law-abiding citizens must leave. So everybody that stay are criminal supporters. You have to protect yourself. Why? You show loyalty to a man and see him run away. Dudus never stay there for them kill him. Him run. You understand? And that's what most cowards do, you know. I tell you all the time, you know, gunmen, you know, they are all cowards, you know. They all can kill people who cannot defend themselves. And see, these men now, this man is an American citizen, and him, they are Tivoli Garden. And 3 days before, the government had given, 3 days before, the government had given order for, you know, the security force to come and nab this man in Tivoli Gardens. And you see the people, they put up barbed wire, barrier and all kind of thing. And you stay, oh me, the first thing you have to get out of here. You understand? Because that become a war zone. But why? You show your loyalty, so boy, your loyalty to Christopher Dudus. And when him run left everybody, that shows say, all of these people claim them are done, them are coward. You understand? So, moving on. So McCarthy later found Smith's driver's license and a laptop on the floor of his room, covered in blood. Beside them was his passport. Smith had planned to attend Austin University in May that fall. Months later, after the police claimed that there was no record of his death, DNA from his father was found to match the DNA of one of the unidentified dead buried in Maypen Cemetery. Smith's mother, a nurse who lives in Atlanta, is still trying to obtain a death certificate from the Jamaican government so she can arrange a proper burial. Detective Gladys Brown, one of the police detectives who processed and identify the Tivoli Garden bodies, said it was difficult to predict whether any security forces member would be held accountable. There were over 500 soldiers, she told me. Yeah, so, you know, this is the end of part 3, you know, the rise and fall of Shower Posse leader Christopher Dudus. And, you know, part 4 will be coming up shortly. So we're just giving you, you know, a context of what happened, leading up, you know, to the incursion and what happened. And we're going to tell you at the end of this series, you know, it's coming up to the anniversary, and we know that the activists them coming out with all them things. So we at the Jamaica Young Police channel, we have to give you it from the police perspective to let you see, you know, hear what happened and who were involved, to show you that criminals are just criminals no matter what political party they are aligned to. They look out for each other, even police officers, politicians. And you know why some of these people, after Christopher Dudus was extradited, why some people lose all them visa, and why some people are still under the American radar. You understand? And some police officers. So yeah, thanks for watching the Jamaica Young Police channel. Jamaica Young Police channel out.